Hey everyone, we are back with another episode of the Real Estate Hustle podcast. Today we've got a great friend of mine, George Dmitrovic from WRX Property Group. George runs an incredible business built around the database and really going deep into social media, nurturing his database, emails. And we had to have him on the show because we had to hear how he's absolutely crushing his business, doubled it last year and looking at incredible growth this year. So I'm super excited. George, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks for the amazing intro. Happy to be here.
Amazing. So, George, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got to this point. I know you've been doing this for about 10 years, but you've had some tremendous success post COVID and even post the height of the market where your business is doing incredibly well. How did it all happen?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I've been doing this for about 10 years. I think time is a big factor in all the success, time on task over time. But I think at some point post COVID, especially once I started working with you at Keller Williams and you really started preaching about focusing on the database and how much money we actually have in our database rather than chasing new leads all the time. That's sort of when that switch flipped it a little bit for me, and I started seeing a lot more results from that.
That's incredible. And I think, we talk about that all the time. I think everybody knows the database is supposed to be the heartbeat of your business. But, prior to focusing on it, what were you doing? Like, I mean, if it had such a massive impact, what were the things that you found weren't working in the prior sort of world that you were in?
Just chasing new leads. I think new leads are important to business, but it was like my main focus, even though really what happens with new leads is only a small percentage of them really convert into clients right away. And that's sort of where my focus was. I was just chasing every time there was a new lead. I was like, oh yeah, new lead, gotta call them and try and convert the new leads. And then they all get added to my database over time. But they were kind of getting ignored. I was doing emailing sometimes following up, but um, really just chasing
Sounds
the.
like you built this incredible database. There was just nothing there to really extrapolate or work through anything on the other side of it.
Yeah, exactly. And then over the years, I was building up a lot of past clients. And so focusing on them, getting back in touch with them, staying top of mind with them, I
Yeah.
think had a huge impact, especially last year because I had a lot of clients that who used me to buy, and then they contacted me again to sell their home and to buy another home.
Right.
And but they could have just forgotten about me. And I'm sure there's clients from 10 years ago that have bought and sold with other people at this point.
That's such a painful exercise when you actually get a hold of all the people that haven't worked with you and
Mhm.
the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars that we've left on the table without executing that. So have you talked about sort of changing what you did. And so what are you doing differently with the database? Or probably better yet, what are you actually just doing that you should have always been doing with your
Yes.
database?
Well, actually going through, properly tagging, labeling everybody, keeping up with people that are in there. But then we've started doing quarterly events. Especially, been really helpful, especially through the brokerage when we can piggyback on some of those, because that's slowly getting steam. And then emailing, we're up to 4 or 5 emails a week that we're sending out to our database now.
Oh, now, okay, we got to pause there for a second. 4 or 5 emails a week.
Yes, and we'd like to get it up to 7.
Holy smokes. So if I'm in your database, I'm hearing from you almost every day.
Yes, depends on where you are. We have segmented a little bit. So active clients um, don't get all of the emails. They get the good stuff like the newsletters or things happening around town, but they don't get. Um, I don't even know how I would call them. Just more so like the nurturing emails that we're
Right.
sending out. Stay top of mind for people and try to get hand raisers to come out of the woodwork. And same
Wow.
thing with past clients. Like for example, my active clients don't get my deal of the week email. I
Right.
just feel like that doesn't make sense. I'm already sending you properties. If anything, you're going to look at it and be like, this is not the type of house I'm looking for. It's not my budget or whatever it
Right.
is.
Is there so of the seven or sorry, 5 emails right now, if I'm a client, how many am I getting on a week to week basis? And just kind of
You're
break it down.
Yeah, as a client, you're getting 2
Okay. So
or
that's not
3,
terrible.
depends. Yeah, yeah.
So you're doing a weekly newsletter, not a
Mhm.
monthly newsletter?
Weekly newsletter and then monthly, like a bigger newsletter.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So weekly is just kind of your here's what happened in the real estate market last week.
Here's what happened last week. Here's some events for the weekend. Are you thinking about
Okay.
selling your house?
So a little bit of value, a little bit of
Yeah.
information, and then some sort of call to action
Yeah.
in there. So very simple, very easy. And then you've got the deal of the week and other stuff like that. That's really, really cool. So, I'm sure everyone listening, the
Mhm.
first question that comes up is what's the unsubscribe rate?
Not that high. I think
Really?
I like checked last week. For the past 2 weeks, it's almost 0%. When we first fired it up, it was higher.
Right.
Lost a bunch of people, but it's like, whatever. When they weren't getting emails from me, my entire database was unsubscribed.
Right.
Now that they are getting emails, you lose some. It's like, okay, life goes on.
That's a really interesting way to put it. When my database isn't getting emails from me, they've already unsubscribed.
Yeah, it's
I guess you
100%
didn't give them a choice. Yeah.
unsubscribed. Yeah, yeah. It's the
Wow.
same thing as when you call people in your database, right? Like, how many people are going to tell you to never contact them again,
Right.
or that they're absolutely not interested? You just now have
Not
more information.
not many. Yeah,
Not
no, I think
many.
you're correct there, right? So we're not getting a ton of people leave us. Are there a ton of people opening it? Like if I'm in your database in the nurture category, I'm getting
Hmm.
4 to 5 emails a week. So, what's that? 16 to 20 emails a
Hmm.
month from you. How many of those am I opening?
There's people that open them religiously all the time. There's people that open 2 or 3 per week. I think
Right.
it depends on what's in the email. Overall, our open rate, I think, is around somewhere around 27%.
Right.
But MailChimp actually rolled out a thing recently that, so apparently, if you have an iPhone and you're using their native mail app, iPhone opens the emails and checks the emails, and that counts as an open. So MailChimp is like, hey, here's how many people actually open your emails, and it's only like 9%.
Right.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
Googled it and everybody was like, hey, ever since they rolled this out, my open rate has plummeted. It's like, yeah, people weren't actually
Right.
opening their emails who you
So
thought
you're
were opening.
figuring 10%, maybe 15 max are
Yeah.
actually opening the emails. And
Hmm.
then okay, it's not terrible. I mean, how does that compare to like, I know the average is, you want to get into the 20s, if not into the 30s for open rate.
Hmm.
Are you starting to see leads that kind of transform through that as well?
I am. Yeah. I've had people reach out to me that are like, hey, I've been getting your emails for a while, looking to sell my house now. You seem like you know what you're talking about. And these are people that like were marked as junk or like cold leads. Or in fact, I never even got in touch with them. Like they never answered the phone when I was
They're just
calling.
getting the emails, going in their inbox, hitting delete, moving on.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And eventually the time is right, or they've been opening them and reading them. I had a lady that I did a CMA with, I don't know how long ago, and I was supposed to follow up with her. I, of course, had missed my task.
Yeah.
And then she replied to one of the emails and she was like, I've been looking for your contact information everywhere, but I just got your email. So here we are.
Here we are. There you go. Okay. So it's
Yeah.
working. Now, it can't be everything. And I mean, for context, I mean, I have a really decent idea of where you are production wise.
Hmm.
Would you be willing to share with everybody like what the results were when we talk about doubling your business?
Hmm.
How many units? And we say property group, but I think it's really, it's mostly just you on the team at this point.
It is, yeah.
And so how many units did you guys produce? How much GCI did you walk away with in 2025?
It was 32 units. GCI, you might know the number better than I do. I have it here somewhere. Let me see. Somewhere around 500,000, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
It was
give or take.
somewhere in that
No,
ballpark.
no big deal. No big So, I mean, with intentionality and focus, you're making $500,000,
Hmm.
you and an admin, you're emailing a ton. It can't be that simple.
I mean, In a way, it is. It's simple, not easy. It's just
Right.
I committed last year to. I had my 411. I had my goals. I just committed to doing the tasks every day, doing my calls, following up with people, getting back. I mean, I work crazy hours. I work a lot. I worked a lot last year.
Right.
So that's that's what it comes
That's a
down
that's
to.
a lot of transactions for a single. I mean, keep in mind, depending on where you're listening, your stats are going to be different. Your numbers are going to be different. We're talking about 2025, a down year where volumes down 20 to 30%, depending on who you ask. Prices saw a 20 to 30% decrease, depending on where you were in the category. Condos are 9 months or longer to sell. The average homes on the market, what are we, 30 plus days on market?
Hmm.
And we saw realtors go from, on average, 4 transactions to down to 2.
Hmm.
And George comes out and decides he's going to go double his business. Just for context for everyone listening, why it was so important to get you on.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen by accident. I think that's kind of what you're saying is you just got into intentionality.
Yeah, and the other thing is, what once I had the clients, it was having those difficult conversations with them because I'm sure lots of people took listings last year that just sat and didn't sell. And I had some of those too, but just having those difficult conversations and setting people's expectations properly, I feel like it went a long way. And then there was some big negotiations that happened to get deals across the finish line that you didn't think would happen.
You mean you got to do your job again? That's a really weird concept that I think
Yeah.
realtors are struggling with.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like, I don't know. I feel like the realtors got so complacent. I still see it in this market. You send them an offer, their property's been on the market for 60 days, and you don't even get a sign back. Like they're offended by the offer, and it's like, well, let's negotiate. Let's get this thing done. Let's get across the finish line.
There's a rule that we've had it on our team from day one, and we've always said the deal never dies on your side.
Yeah.
No matter what's happening,
Hmm.
the deal never dies on your side, even if it's a ridiculous sign back, even if it makes no sense, even like just make sure it doesn't end with you
On your
holding the
side.
bag kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
100%.
I think that's so interesting, right? Like we've had the show now for coming up on 5, almost 6 years that we've been running the show. And while we've taken some hiatuses because of the market and what's happening in the local industry, the one thing I think that we can kind of all agree to is there's just been a reset back to the norm. And I don't know why everyone's so stressed out and freaking out. I'm going, you've got 3.5% interest rates. Our friends south of the border are like 6.5, 7% interest rates.
Yeah.
You've got average, if something's priced well, you're moving it in 7 to 14 days. If you're priced high, you're in that 30 category, but
Mhm.
products are moving and everybody's still freaking out. I don't get it. Maybe you want to shed some light on that. Like, what are you seeing that's sort of happened to the average realtor?
Well, I think a lot of realtors just got complacent during the COVID market where it was so hot and I guess deals still weren't easy. Listings were easy. Working with buyers was still a little difficult in that market, but it was the negotiating went away. Being offended by offers kind of came into play. And yeah, I think we're all just being bombarded with so much negative news and people just buy into it. And I'm not doing well because X, Y, and Z, and this is the problem. This is the reason it's not happening. But it's like at the end of the day, you just got to do the work, and houses are still selling. My sales are down, but there were still thousands of homes that sold last year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
it never seems to end, right?
yeah, yeah. And some realtors are starting to get a little desperate, maybe taking some overpriced listings, buying the listing. So
Offering staging at a ridiculously low rate.
yeah, exactly. But no, I don't mind this market. It was kind of started getting a bit hotter a couple of weeks ago, and I wasn't a fan of that, to be honest.
Yeah, no.
Right now there really isn't. As long as people have fairly realistic expectations, most buyers will find a place. You can
Right.
work with most buyers to find a place. Whereas a few years ago, there was buyers that was like, I can't help you.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if I'm not mistaken, George, you're an econ student. How'd
Yes.
you go from that into real estate, and how is that either helping you or hurting you while in the industry?
Yeah. So yeah, study economics at the University of Waterloo. I took some entrepreneurship courses there, and I kind of realized that I probably would hate working at a bank for the rest of my life. So at that point in time, I knew I wanted to start my own business. I just didn't know exactly what that would be. I first started a music venue, and then I was actually recruited into real estate by Mario, who's on my team right now. We started the team together, then kind of split up, came back together. But he just kept recruiting me. He felt like it was the right industry for me. And had you asked me at that time if I'm ever going to be a realtor, the answer would have been like, absolutely not. Like, no chance, man. First of all, pure commission. Second of all, talking to people all day. I think, like, I'm actually an introvert, which I'm sure once you get to know me, you can tell that a little bit. But I was like, yeah, no way am I doing this for a living. But he did, the scene in Wolf of Wall Street where he shows him the paycheck. So he showed me his T4, and I was like, I'm in.
I don't think I've ever heard that before. That's amazing.
Yeah, he literally sat me, was in this Keller Williams office. He invited me over to show me, and he was like, listen, man, are you sure you want to go work for 40K a year? And I was like, all
That's
right, I
amazing.
got to give this a shot.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, I
And,
mean, looking at that, like some of the stuff I'm seeing is like, you mentioned it already. Like I'm busy.
mm-hmm,
I've got a young family. I've got a soon to be wife. I've got all this stuff happening. How are you balancing that sort of, the one side, which is that hustle culture, right? Go, go,
mm-hmm.
go, go, go. But you're also this great involved dad with a little one. How are you managing both sides of that equation?
It's hard, especially the last couple of weeks. But I try to just be intentional with the time that I spend with them, and I do try to block off some family time when I can. Like on weekends, I will try to pile everything onto one day, so that the next day I can spend with my family. And the time that I do spend with them, I just try to be intentional and not be on my phone. And
Right.
I mean, you have kids too. For them, just 15 minutes of direct interaction with them goes a long, long way.
Yeah, it's sort of that focus, right? You've made the choice. And I've spoken about this on other podcast episodes where it's like, some people think it's or, right? I want the
Mm-hmm.
big life or I want the big family life, right? I want to make a lot of money or I want to be home all the time. And it's really there's no reason you can't have and there's no reason
Mm-hmm.
you can't have the big life and have the big business. It just takes a lot of intentionality and it sounds like you're really dialed into that.
Yeah, I try to. Sometimes I drift and then reset. I mean, nothing in life is linear, so that's just how it is. But yeah, I do try to be very intentional. I do try to, as much as I can, be home for dinner every day,
Right. I
unless
think it's a
something really
good
urgent.
rule.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit easier when now that we've had the time change, so I can do dinner and then go do showings. Whereas in the winter, it's a little trickier because people are like, we want to see it while the sun's still out.
It's not pitch black at 4:30 anymore.
Yeah, exactly. You can go out and do a showing at 6:45, 7,
Yeah.
and
I don't
be
think
home.
realtors that are in like, warm climates and I don't think anybody understands what we go through when we're
Yeah.
like, listen, you get up, it's dark, you get home, it's dark, you got this really tiny window that you're not making calls, that you get to show some houses and enjoy
Yeah.
a little bit of cold weather.
It's challenging because it's dark by the time people get off from work. So when do you show people houses? Most people don't like looking at houses in the dark. And even when you do show them in the dark, it's such a weird experience being
Yeah.
in a nighttime house.
It's one of those things I got when I first got in the business, I had someone tell me, if you wanted to be a 9 to 5 agent, it can be done.
Yeah.
Most people want to see the house in daylight. Most people will adjust to your schedule. For most people, buying the house is more important than being at the job. And if they can leave early to look at houses, they will.
Yeah.
And so I've known a couple of realtors in the past that have built their business out that is, similar to a corporate sort of 9 to 5, nine to
Hmm.
five job. So I mean, it can be done.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely can. It's a little more challenging, but it can be done.
100%. And there's a couple of things I'm seeing in, my research of what you've kind of done. And so,
Hmm.
I know you're techie. You've kind of mentioned that introverted side. So, I mean, you've run Google Ads, you've automated your
Hmm.
follow-up boss, you've kind of dug deep into tech and learning how to generate business. Do you think that's given you a competitive edge? Are you still that deep into it, or have we made any transitions since then?
Yeah, absolutely. It's giving me a competitive edge. I think from the day that I started in real estate, the first thing that I did was build out a website with a blog and IDX feed and basically started generating my own leads online for free if you want, if your time doesn't count for anything.
Right, right.
And then just from there went into Google Ads, Facebook ads. And I think the advantage for me has been that I don't have to rely on a third party to do this. I find there's good third parties out there, but a lot of them don't do a great job. So I think that definitely gives me an advantage to stand out amongst the competition.
Yeah, there's nobody really in the third party space that's like knocking it out of the park better than everybody else. We all have to be there, right? Like they're all kind of, and there's no offense to any of our providers. Like nobody call me and cancel me over this, but it's all sort of the same sort of thing across the board. Like whether I'm with Sync or Ylopo or this or that, it's really just like which platform do you prefer?
Yeah.
And who's better that day at generating leads. I mean, one day you're going to get 10 from one provider, and the next day you're going to get zero. So I think, being able to do that is unique. Was it hard though?
Yes and no. There's definitely a lot of trial and error in figuring things out, but also YouTube is a wonderful tool. I
Yeah.
watched a lot of YouTube videos about people explaining how it works. So um, it was just, I think, figuring it out initially, being able to reverse engineer some of the stuff and then doing it on my own was great. Because then I don't know what you pay these providers, 500 to $1,000 to manage your account. That was putting that all towards generating more leads.
Right. So you're getting more, but it's the time conversation, right? Like
Hmm.
where do you have more time?
Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah.
And I mean, you've again just kind of knowing where you're generating business. I've seen that sort of shift into social media.
Hmm.
Now we got AI. I mean, I'm talking to agents about this AI stuff all the time, and you just see them glaze over. It's like I got to do what now, and I got to learn chat, and I got to figure out Claude, and like where are you at on all this stuff? Because it's moving really quickly. Are you like in the trenches on it? Or are you sort of like I'll figure it out later? Which side are you on?
No, I'm in the trenches trying to figure it out, but I feel like it's moving so fast. Like I feel like I'm behind, so it helps when other agents look glazed over. I'm like, okay, I'm not behind. It's just a lot. Like every time, it's probably my algorithm because I research the stuff so much. But every time you open Instagram, it's like, check out this new thing and check out this AI that does this. I'm like, okay, I can't. Like I got my Chat GPT going, a few other ones, and that's basically kind of where I'm at, trying to keep up with all of it, but not trying to get too consumed because it's not, I don't think it's absolutely necessary to the business. I think people can have good, strong businesses without it. Maybe in
There
the
are going to
future.
be people that disagree with you 100% on that,
It's
like
true.
right out of the gate.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with social media. Like yesterday, somebody came in and was talking to us, and then they were like, it's absolutely crucial to be on social media. And I'm like, not really. it it's a very powerful and valuable tool, but uh, I know lots of top producing agents that have nothing to do with social media. They just focus on doing business in other ways. I
Do
just
you
think
think
it's
you
a
can
great
land the test
opportunity.
of time though? Like you think over time, growing the business, growing the database, do you think you can continue to ignore it? Because that's one of my concerns. Is I know a lot of a lot of different realtors, different stuff, right? I'm not on social media. Don't focus on it. Don't care. Still have a great business, great life.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the other side where some of the people we know is like they're 100% into AI and they're at the
Yeah.
front of this stuff and they're like you gotta have it, gotta have it, gotta have it. If we were to zoom out and say, it's 5 years, it's 7 years from now,
Mm-hmm.
do you, who do you think wins?
the one that's consistent and does the work every day. I think the issue, I think, well, if you have two people that are very consistent and do it well, I think the person on social media does better. Just because it's a bigger market, it's such an amazing marketing tool. You can reach so many more people and be in front of people all the time versus like door knocking or open houses where you don't see them as much. So, but the issue is most people treat social media like it's a shortcut.
Right.
Oh, well, I don't like doing my calls, so I'm going to go on
It will
social
make a
media.
reel and
Yeah,
dance
but
a
then they
little.
don't even like make a like they're not consistent and doing it consistently. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
They
Right.
just think, oh, well, if I just go post some half-assed reels, I'm gonna get rich. And it's like, no, it's very competitive on social media as well,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Well, I think that's the key. So it's funny because there's I'll share with you another time who this was, but I was talking to another realtor that I know we both know, and he was like, "Listen, I'm back on cold calls," and
yeah,
I was like, "Get the f out of here!" And why? And he said, "Well, because all you idiots left, so there's nobody in the cold call space." So I can get in 2 hours a day. I'm hitting cold calls again, and I'm getting more business than you guys are because nobody's here.
yeah, exactly. That's
So I think that is a message, right?
yeah, but the thing is, again, the important point here is I'm getting back on cold calls 2 hours a day,
Every
every
day.
week, not one time, not 1 week, not for a month, right?
Right.
So I
Okay.
think at the end of the day, it's the consistency and the people that actually do the work and do it well.
That's such a big point, and that's kind of come through this entire show for all the years we've been doing it. Is everyone that's been on has been consistent. I think that's been the number one thing that no matter which strategies, socials, this calls, like no matter what it is they're doing, they are willing to do it for so long. It borderline hinges on insanity.
Yeah.
And I think you're kind of in that same boat. So, for last few things that we want to know, George, agents are listing. We get a lot of agents at a lot of different levels, but I want to talk about kind of the first or second year agent. We
Hmm.
know a lot of them right now are thinking, do I stick this out?
Hmm.
If that was you again, and you could go back with everything you know today, what would you go back and say to those 1 2 year agents in the business right now?
Ooh, that's a good question. Definitely stick it out. Make sure you have a plan. Make sure you have weekly targets and just stick it out. It takes time, but eventually things do start working. And um, work on getting better every day, whether that's scripting, overcoming objections. I think a lot of people miss that aspect of it as well. Like sales is one of the only industries where you don't really need any training. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? It's like, oh, here's a sales job. What degree in sales do you have? Nothing,
There is none. Yeah.
right? So I would say practice your sales skills and just time on task over time.
I love that. I love that. Now, most people, if you've never listened to the show, for our regular listeners, they understand that this happens every single time. George, you probably had no idea this was coming. Everybody that comes on has to give us a mic drop moment, something that is so impactful to all our listeners that they have to hear from you, whether it's a personal experience, whether it's a tip, whether it's a trick. What is that moment for you that you would say everybody has to hear it? What's George's mic drop moment?
Yeah, I will say this because we're talking about social media, and social media is such a hot topic. The algorithm doesn't hate you. Your content just sucks.
Woo!
The algorithm just shows what people want to watch, and if people don't want to watch your stuff, it's not the algorithm, it's the people.
Sounds like part of that get better every day sort of thing. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, Georgie, I mean, one of the things we always say is sometimes guests want to reach out, sometimes clients hear the content, they want to reach out as well. What's the best way to find you on socials? Is it email? Is it text? How do you like people to contact you if, say, someone's trying to reach out to you after hearing this?
You could either find me on Instagram, George in KW, or email me at George at wrxpropertygroup.com.
Amazing. George, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you. One of the things that happens is we will bring you back at some point to kind of hear how the growth has happened, what you've done next. It's been an honor. I think you're running a really crazy business that is only going to continue to grow for you, but you're just kind of at the front end of it. You've got the habits dialed in, you've got the emails dialed in, you're getting your socials dialed in right now. So I'm really excited to see where things go. For everyone listening, this has been the Real Estate Hustle podcast. You can find us on Instagram, on Facebook, on all social media platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, et cetera, et cetera. This has been George Dmitrovic with WRX Property Group, and we want to thank you guys all for listening in. George, thank you for the time, and thank you for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. It was an honor. Thanks so much.
Appreciate you.